With Illinois just beating South Carolina in the Citrus Bowl 21-17 and them having their first 10-win season, since I've been an Illinois fan, I thought it'd be a good time to make a Rise of Illinois football video. Also, I don't get to talk about Illinois much on this channel. I'm not sure if y'all know I'm an Illinois fan, so here's the chance to talk about Illinois. And to talk about the Rise of Illinois football, we gotta go all the way back to when it looked like Illinois football had no hope.
They've upset the number 1 Buckeyes, 28-21.
On November 10th, 2007, Illinois upset Ohio State to add on to what was already a crazy season. See, in 2007, Illinois had 9 wins. On top of that, they made it to the Rose Bowl. Even though they lost to USC, it still looked like a great season because it was their best season in a while. Not only was it the best Illinois season since 2001, but they also had good players like Juice Williams, Vontae Davis, Rashad Mendenhall, and Aurelius Ben. But that just wasn't the case, as in 2008, they was not able to build off that 07 season going 5-7, and then in 2009, it got even worse as they went 3-9. But it looked like things started to turn around again in 2010 when they had Nathan Schillhouse under center, but they also had Mikael LaShore, Martez Wilson, Corey Legit, Terry Hawthorne, Jeff Allen, and more. And during this season, Illinois lost to some tough teams, but we beat the teams that we were supposed to beat, and we went 6-6 in the regular season, and we made it to the Texas Bowl. In that Texas Bowl, Illinois played Baylor, led by RG3, Kendall Wright, and Josh Gordon, and we would then beat them 38-14. And so Illinois capped off that season with a great win, and it looked like we were going to try to build on that season, especially after returning quarterback Nathan Schillhouse. In 2011, we were off to a great start. We won 6 straight games, we beat number 22 Arizona State, and at one point, we were ranked number 16. But then it happened. Illinois hit a wall. They won 6 straight, and then they lost 6 straight, being 6-6. And at the end of the season, Ron Zook would then get fired. And although they had 6 straight losses, their head coach would get fired, they would still find a way to win the Kraft Hunger Bowl and end the season 7-6 once again. And to replace Ron Zook, Illinois hired Tim Beckman, who was the coach at Toledo, going 21-16 there and making it to a Little Caesars Bowl. And when we hired Tim Beckman, he almost ran the dang program to the ground. He was terrible. His first season, we went 2-10. His second season, we went 4-8. Not to mention, he ruined Nathan Schillhouse Illinois career for him. But in the third season, everything looked okay. Even though we struggled and we had Wes Lunt, old trash self, at quarterback, he then got hurt. Riley O'Toole came in, which he should have been starting all season, and he saved our season for us. We went 6-6, but we lost in the Heart of Dallas Bowl to Louisiana Tech. And it looked like Tim Beckman was gearing up for his 4th season, but then he was fired a week before that season started, as it was seen that he was mistreating players, making them play through injuries, and making the medical staff clear them too soon. After Beckman was fired, Illinois then hired Bill Cuba as their interim head coach, but he only went 5-7. And then at the end of the season, they decided to hire Lovie Smith. And this was seen as a home run hire by some people, as 10 years prior to this hiring, Lovie Smith made it to the Super Bowl. Not only that, he was known as one of the great defensive minds in the NFL in his time. And on top of that, he was an NFL head coach. So maybe he was able to draw in recruits with his resume. Although in his first 3 years at Illinois, he didn't really have much to show. We went 3-9, 2-10, and 4-8. But he was able to draw in some good recruits. Also during this time, he was able to find 3-star gems like Quan Martin, Sidney Brown, Kirby Joseph, and Nate Hobbs. Smith's 19 recruiting class was supposed to be special though, as we had Isaiah Williams, Marquez Beeson, and Shamon Cooper, all 4 stars, and we had a hidden gem in Devon Witherspoon. He also hit the transfer portal hard, getting Joshie Matterbebe, Trevon Sidney, and Brandon Peters, and it looked like it paid off, as Illinois went 6-6 in the regular season, including having a win over a top 5 team in Wisconsin. Although they lost in the Red Box Bowl to Cal, it was still a great season, and it was a season to build off of heading into 2020. But just like in Lovie Smith fashion, he couldn't build off that season. We only had 2 wins in 2020. Now, to be fair, it was weird because, you know, the whole spring and fall practices didn't happen. But Illinois still was going to suck because Lovie Smith's defense sucked at Illinois. This led to Lovie Smith being fired and Bret Bielema being hired. Honestly, I didn't know what to think of the hiring. I knew he had success at Wisconsin and Arkansas. I was just hoping he can get us to a bowl game consistently. And the first season was up and down. We went 5-7. We had that really good non-overtime win against Penn State, which was crazy. I was ecstatic. But the offense was just putrid this season. Outside of Chase Brown, Josh McCray, it really wasn't nothing to be excited. The quarterback play was terrible. We had Arsetowski and Brandon Peters starting at one point. And I remember I went to a Wisconsin game that season, and if I'm not mistaken, Illinois had like 4 first downs that whole game. But like I said, we went 5-7, and the season was something to build off of. Going into 2022, Bret fired Tony Peterson and hired Barry Looney as the OC. And then in recruiting, we went out and got Tommy DeVito as a quarterback. And to add on to the high school recruits in Xavier Scott, Matthew Bailey, Josh Kreutz, and Isaiah Adams. On offense, we were returning Isaiah Williams, Chase Brown, Casey Washington, and Alex Palczewski. Then on defense, we were returning Devon Witherspoon, Quan Martin, Sidney Brown, Tav Nicholson, and Johnny Newton. Illinois started the season off 1-1 after beating Wyoming, but then dropping the first Big Ten opener against Indiana. But after dropping the Big Ten opener against Indiana, Illinois then rattled off 6 straight, beating key teams like Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin. We also whooped on Nebraska. Just want to flex that because, well, we always whoop on Nebraska. Also, by the time week 6 came, Illinois was ranked number 24 in the AP poll. On top of that, we had not only one of the best defenses in the Big Ten, but one of the best defenses in the country, and we were on pace to be a competitor for the Big Ten championship. And just when it looked like it was going super great for Illinois, we then dropped 3 straight games to Michigan State, Purdue, and then Michigan. Now, Illinois did end the season off on a high note, whooping on Northwestern, winning the Land of Lincoln Trophy. We did make it to the Really Quest Bowl where we lost to Mississippi State 19-10. And by the time the NFL draft came around, Illinois had Quan Martin, Chase Brown, Sidney Brown, and Devon Witherspoon all chosen in the NFL draft, which I think is the most in my lifetime, at least in one draft for Illinois. In the offseason, Bret was able to land recruits like Malik Elzy and Caden Fagan, and he was also able to get top transfers like John Paddock and Luke Altmyer. Also, a thing that happened in the offseason was Illinois DC Ron Walters. He ended up taking the head coaching job at Purdue, so the person that replaced him was Aaron Henry. With lots of Illinois fans, including myself, hoping that we can just have another bowl win season, it didn't happen. Once again, Illinois went 5-7, and the defensive drop-off between Aaron Henry and Ron Walters was really obvious. Also, the offensive line wasn't that great either. Luke Altmyer got sacked a lot, but it wasn't all the offensive line fault. Luke Altmyer held the ball a lot too. But I will say, despite going 5-7 2 of his 3 seasons, it was like a little bit of a culture change, as it seemed like Illinois had an identity. And I can say that's something that we didn't have in the past regimes with Tim Beckman and Lovie Smith. In the offseason, Bret knew he had to get some talent, and he went out and got J.C. Davis, Shakari Franklin, Torrey Cox Jr., Melvin Priestley, and Terrence Brooks. And the season started off well. They had key wins over Kansas and Nebraska, 2 teams that I believe were ranked at the time. By the time that Nebraska game came around, we were already ranked, which is probably the earliest we've been ranked in such a long time. Then after that, we had the Penn State game where we had a chance really to be in the game and to win. We didn't. We choked a lot in that game, but hey, it was still close. After that, we rattled off 2 wins against Purdue and Michigan, and that Michigan game should have been a college game day game. Illinois got smoked by Oregon and Eugene, but in the last 4 games, Illinois went 3-1, including beating rivals Northwestern. This set us up for the Citrus Bowl against South Carolina. And I'm so happy we beat South Carolina. Oh my goodness, Frank Beamer is such a crybaby. So Illinois finished the season with 10 wins, the first 10-win season since 2001. I think around that time I had to be like 5 months old. Not only that, we're actually going to end the season ranked, which is the first time that we'll end the season ranked since I've been a fan. And I'm happy that Bret Bielema is Illinois' head coach. He's given Illinois an identity. He's completely changed the culture. He brought a sense of winning to Illinois for the first time in such a long time. So shout out Bret Bielema, shout out to all the Illinois players that won this bowl game. And until next time, that's it for this video. I'm out. Peace.